Hello and welcome to the Intellectual Idiot Show with your host, Max Hoffman, Tyler Jesky, and Big Testicular Krupo. We got an action-packed show for you today. This is kind of weird. I got my AirPod Pros in, so I have the Beats Pro and the AirPods Pro. But the AirPod Pros cancel.
You got two Pros?
I got two Pros.
Oh,
the AirPod
man.
Pros cancel a sound around you way better than the Beats Pros. So, like, I have all sound canceled around me right now, and I feel so weird.
Headphones
I
from
have. And Haley got me here.
Talking so loud.
Haley got me some new MCW swag today, so I'm feeling fresh. But no, we got a good show lined up for you today. We got football season starting this week. We got
I'm so fucking pumped for the NFL.
Thursday night football is back. Packers are back. It's gonna be a phenomenal
Sunday night.
Carrie Underwood is back. With NFL being back means Carrie Underwood is back officially.
Do you guys know like all the changes they made with the broadcasting this year? Like, isn't Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, like Fox took over? What did they take over Monday Night Football? And like Al Michaels is going to be on Thursday night, or like what's the slate of like our primetime announcers?
They're trying to bring in the Sunday announcers for more games, or no, the Sunday Joe Buck and Troy for just more games. I think
Collinsworth still on Sunday night?
I think Collinsworth and Al Michaels still
on Thursday.
What I was gonna say is we should make a petition to bring back Chris Berman. I want some.
What? Chris Berman is close to.
I don't think he ever did. He never did. He never did. Like
he did
Monday Night Football.
Oh,
did
yeah,
he? He always.
Yeah, he most definitely did.
Oh, okay.
I love watching Chris Berman rumble. He's rumbling and tumbling for the end zone. Touchdown! What?
I thought he just did highlights. I didn't know he actually did Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
We'll fact check that.
So we're going to get right into what's hot, what's not. We got what's hot, what's not today. We're going to talk a little fantasy football, and then we're going to close it down with our top 5 favorite NFL players of all time. So due to the good vibes coming in from NFL Sunday starting, we are having an NFL tailored episode, which is only fitting. I mean, we're going to just to all of our listeners, just so you know, buckle up because we're going to be talking a lot of NFL.
If you don't like NFL, you might as well get out.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to be talking a lot of NFL for the next however many months. Just get used to it. Expect it because it's going to be a lot. So get ready. But what's hot, what's not? Who wants to start? Mike, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll be honest. My what's hot, what's not are not NFL related. So I decided to stray off the road on that. Okay. Should we start with what's hot? I have 2 things that are hot right now. First of all, Shohei Ohtani on the Angels. I saw a tweet the other day that listed like the top offensive and defensive like pitching leaders on the Angels, and Shohei Ohtani leads in every single category. Take a look at what categories he leads in for the Angels. So when it comes to pitching stats, he has the most wins, the lowest ERA, and the most strikeouts. And then on the offensive side, he has the highest batting average, the highest amount of home runs, most RBIs, biggest on-base percentage, and he also has the highest number of hits on the Angels. So
it's historical what he's doing. Being able to dominate pitching and dominate hitting, it's never been done like this.
You should counter that with the Angels being your automatic what's not for being just an absolute shit show of a team year in and year out while having Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on the same team.
And they had Pujols for like a year or 2 as well.
Don't know, a year or 2. They had Pujols for like 6, 7, 8 years, dude. I I don't understand how the Angels can continue to be so terrible. They are terrible every single year. Their pitching is terrible. Their relief is terrible. It's unbelievable. They have 2 MVPs on their team every year.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
You want to talk about the Packers squandering Aaron Rodgers? Let's talk about the Angels killing Mike Trout. I mean, Mike Trout arguably is one of the best baseball players to ever step face on the planet.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even have a playoff series victory to go for.
Hashtag free Mike Trout. Let him be. Let him go somewhere else.
And free Keston Hiura.
Mike Trout's like one of those guys where he's so good, but he's on such a shitty like ball club team. I think he has that where he goes out in public, people might not necessarily recognize him because like the Angels are such a crappy team. So he's making a shit ton of money, but I think he's able to have like a low profile when he goes out in public. But
yeah,
my other quick what's hot is going to be Big Bad Giannis. I've been following Giannis, and he is destroying some Europe League basketball right now. This dude is just on fire.
Bully balling everyone.
What's that?
He's bully balling everyone. Literally,
he
just
pretty much is. Him and Luka probably are just owning the continent over there, along with Joel Embiid. Well, I'm pretty sure he's African native, but nonetheless. So like I saw a picture recently where it had like a Giannis stat line where it says Giannis Antetokounmpo versus Ukraine today. 41 points, 9 rebounds, 72% field goal percentage. And somebody did like a retweet on Twitter and be like, Putin need him because
I saw that. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that tweet.
That's kind of funny. Other than that, my what's not hot of the week is gonna be the movie Don't Worry, Darling. There was a very popular video going on. I'm gonna share it with you guys right now. I believe my screen is being shared. Just to set this up. So Don't Worry, Darling is a movie with like a star-studded cast. It has Olivia Wilde, Harry Styles, Chris Pine, who you guys might know as like Captain Kirk from the most recent Star Trek movies. Also has Nick Kroll, who is in Big Mouth. And apparently this movie has just been like a really big flop, and there's been a bunch of controversy while the cast is going on their press tour. So I'm going to play this video right here, and to describe it, the people who are listening, we have Harry Styles walking to his seat.
Oh, I was going to say
it looks like that he spat on Chris Pine. Chris Pine kind of just hesitates, looks at his lap a little bit. It's going one more time, so looks like he's almost spitting at him.
Your screen is not sharing.
Michael, your screen's not sharing.
Oh, well, too bad. I just described the video to you guys, and hopefully it makes enough sense. I should probably press the share button, huh? There you go. So I'll let Ty Max take a quick peek at it.
Yeah, I saw this. You took my what's not, Mike.
Oh, I did?
Oh, but shit. I got another one. Don't worry.
Okay. So I have a theory, though, that Chris Pine in this video, he's like smiling and whatnot. I don't think Harry Styles actually spat at him. There's like multiple viewing angles that
looked like he
occurred.
Did.
And my theory is like Chris Pine is like kind of confused. He looks down at his seat. I think it's because he found his sunglasses where he was afraid he lost them. He looks down and he's like, "Oh, thank God."
I think he's like, "Oh, this fucker,"
or that. That could very well be.
Maybe he's very difficult to deal with. Who knows? But
we'll have to put otherwise, that on our Instagram.
I'll make sure to do that. Other than that, this movie, it's like based in the 1950s, where a housewife discovers her idyllic lifestyle is completely fake and manufactured. I have a feeling that this is kind of a ripoff of a famous movie called The Truman Show that had Jim Carrey in it, where he was like living a perfect life. But so far the reviews aren't that great. Sounds like it's kind of a shit movie. So that's my what's not.
Big productions flop.
Yeah.
All righty. Good stuff, Mike. I can go second. My what's hot is actually recent. It was different at first, but my new what's hot is Christian Yelich.
Yes.
The Brewers might not be making it to the playoffs. They still have a fighting chance. They like to think you like to give up on them, and then they'll win a couple convincing games in a row, and they'll be like a game back of the wild card, and you'll be like, oh shit, the Brewers are back, but they're never back. Don't fool yourself. But I will say, Christian Yelich has been playing some pretty good baseball lately. He is over the past like 50, 60 games, he's been an over 300 hitter. He has been hitting the ball for power. He's been hitting the ball for average. He has been literally the lone bright spot on our offense. I can say that with a ton of confidence. Besides, Keston here has been playing pretty well, but Christian Yelich hit the longest home run in the MLB this year today at Coors Field. He hit the ball 499 yards, and it was the furthest home run.
That's 5 football fields.
That's the furthest. Sorry, that is the furthest home run I have ever seen. I couldn't believe what I was watching when I watched the highlights. I was like, that is insane. But Yelich, good for Yelich. We really have no choice but to hope that Yelich comes through in the next couple of years and continues to play like he's been playing the second half of the season, because that's been the version of Christian Yelich that people are more so used to seeing. So good on him. Hopefully he can help us lead to some sort of late season charge here. My what's not is an interesting one. My what's not are going to be polos. Golf polos, to be specific.
Okay, go on.
I was shopping at Dick's the other day, and then I went to Golf Galaxy, and I'm just looking at all these polos, and they all look great. Like Jordan Spieth's polos, Rory McIlroy's Nike polos, Jordan Spieth's Under Armour, and then there's like the Travis Matthew brand. There's all these different brands of polos. Adidas, Van Hagen. There's so many different kinds of golf polos.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, I swear to God, the cheapest polo I saw was $75.
Yeah.
Like,
I think Dick's is terrible.
It's not just Dick's though. It was Golf Galaxy. It's Kohl's. You can go and look at extremely expensive polos. Like, I don't ever go to Kohl's, so I don't really know what I'm talking about. But if you go to Under Armour, you're gonna find the same price for all their polos. If you go to Nike, you're gonna find the same price. The price of polos has gotten out of control. Like, at this point, I refuse to buy a polo anywhere other than TJ Maxx, because it's like, what are we doing here? 75. It never used to be like that. I used to be able to go to Dick's and buy a polo for $45, $50. I mean, that used to be expensive.
Yeah,
that used to be expensive. Now we're talking, just because you see Rory McIlroy wearing a Nike polo or Jordan Spieth wearing an Under Armour polo, Under Armour and Nike and Travis Matthew and all these, they just decided, oh, our brand is that person, so now we are all going to charge what Jordan Spieth price for this polo. It's like, that's pretty bad what they're doing. I'm on to it. It doesn't take you $60 to make that polo. It takes about 30 cents to make that polo.
These big brands are fucking us.
It's like, it's not about money. I mean, we all can have the money to go to Dick's and buy a $75 polo if you wanted to. It's the fucking principle. That is outrageous.
I would never pay that money for a polo.
Oh my God, is that outrageous? Just brutal.
Have you tried Dunham's? They're not as bad as like a Dick's.
I don't have, but that's the thing though, Mike. I don't have any Dunham's near me at all. Like, I have a Dunham's. There's a Dunham's, and if I wanted to drive 25 minutes to Brookfield, I can go to Dunham's. But yeah, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, there's very few.
Yeah.
Dunham's are. You make a good point, Mike. Like, I'm sure there are some nice polos at Dunham's, but it's very few and far in between. It's like, then my mom was like, "Oh, go to the outlet mall." I'm like, "Oh, hold on, let me drive 45 minutes down to Kenosha to go to the outlet mall." Like, yeah, the outlet mall has great deals a lot, but it's like, I just think it's outrageous. It's just ridiculous. You can go and buy 5 polos and what? You're down $400. That is nuts.
No thanks.
Insane. That's my what's how it's now.
Solid.
Sorry.
Alrighty, well, I guess I'm up then. So I'll start off. I got 2 what's hots. One's real quick. Nick Kyrgios.
Yes.
He just beat the #1 player in the world, Medvedev. I think
big asterisk next to #1.
That's true. That's true. I mean, he is a top 5 player in the world, but he's technically ranked #1.
because Joker is not there.
He's cruising through this U.S. Open in the quarterfinals match right now. I'm hoping he's going to win. Be watching that after this. But I think his path. I mean, he doesn't have Djokovic, so I think this is his best shot he'll ever have in his life.
I hope Tiafoe beats him.
What?
I want Tiafoe to kill. I want him to kill him. I would love it if he just absolutely destroyed.
He beat Kyrgios. Pretty impressive. But yeah, Kyrgios. I'm gonna give a quick shout out to what's hot.
Ty, there's a video. Maybe we could post this on our Instagram. But Kyrgios is also playing doubles in the U.S. Open, and I think they like either won a set or a point, and he's literally just like humping the air like after they score the point. So. Like I said, we talked about this before. Kyrgios, like
he's a wild card.
Clicks, but kind of a.
Did you guys see the video of him in last game? He literally had the point one. The guy he fell and basically hit the ball really high in the air.
Yeah.
Kyrgios crossed over the net and spiked it on the opponent's side and lost the point because of it.
Well, yeah, you're not allowed to hit over the net on the
so that was ridiculous, but I'll move on. My real what's hot are the Steelers.
Okay.
Reports from camp, they got 2 cute ones. Mitch Trubisky is looking stellar. They named him the captain. They
say that every camp about everybody.
No, they obviously Kenny Pickett has looked really good in this preseason. George Pickens has looked like an absolute baller out there. You know, they got a really good offense. I'm scared of their offense. Like, besides their O-line, I mean, they just need an O-line. If their O-line can hold up, I think their offense is going to be pretty darn good this year. But,
I'm so scared of Trubisky. Oh, no. Shaking in my boots.
You're the one who was supporting
MVP.
him episodes ago, and now you're not.
I'm not supporting him, but I think you're going way over the top. You're scared of the Steelers offense? As
a Steelers fan, I'm excited for the reports and the way that they've looked in the preseason. So,
I do think Mitch Trubisky is underrated. I think that he's better than what people think that he is. But would I say that I am scared of the Steelers offense? Absolutely
it's everything
not.
Else
that is outrageous.
Big Naj, Muth, Deontay Claypool. I mean, Pickens. They got a lot.
I guess you could put Claypool in the same position as Lazard, right? I mean, they're about the same, I would say, right? They're both like potentially have a lot of potential and haven't broken out, right?
I mean, Claypool broke out his first year out like heavily. He didn't have a good second year. Lazard's never had that breakout yet.
Well, this is his year. Time to step into the limelight, big boy.
Hopefully Christian Watson steps up too. But my what's not, say a prayer for this man and for his ego. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy G?
He just got
his deal.
Yeah, he got a $6 million deal. No one wanted him, so he had to settle for a backup job.
He's not going to be the backup.
Yes, he is, dude. They literally said that Trey Lance is their guy, and he is starting the whole year. Jimmy G is literally on the 49ers to be the backup.
I would think the San Francisco, apparently, rumor has it that Trey Lance was irritated that they re-signed him.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably that kind of shows of like that maybe they don't trust him. I don't know, or maybe they'll have a short leash on him. But I think for Jimmy G, that's a big oof because there were a lot of QB needy teams in this offseason and no one took him. And
I mean,
just settle for a backup job.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I also think that Jimmy G is like, he just seems like one of those people that's just fine with like,
yeah, he's like he'll maybe get you
there.
10 wins. He'll maybe get you 10 wins.
Yeah, he's like I feel like Jimmy G and is very similar to Alex Smith. I think Alex Smith is better, but like he's kind of got a ceiling. You know what I mean? When you go with Jimmy G, it's like I think Jimmy G knows they have to let Trey Lance rip. So I see what you're saying though. That's a good what's not.
Yeah, for sure. I think he would have been perfect if the Browns signed him with this whole Deshaun Watson thing, but we'll see what happens.
Mike?
Mr. Brissett.
I have a hot take, but I think the best position in the NFL is being a decent backup quarterback.
Yeah, you
know, couldn't
that
agree
was
with you
Jimmy
more.
G in New England. he's going to have, when you're a backup and you're not getting banged around all the time, you're going to have really long longevity. Go in for a couple games a year and just prove that you can run an
Matt
offense.
Flynn. Matt Flynn. The Seahawks are still paying that man.
There's some of those QBs out there that have made over like $100 million and they've just been a backup their whole life. It's ridiculous.
Dude, did you guys see the story of Mike Glennon is like played on like 10 different teams and has made like an astronomical amount of money. It's like good for Mike. Have a day out there, kid.
Life.
He's got a giraffe like neck.
He has a huge neck.
You got one. Yeah, he's a dude. By the way, real quick, and then we'll go into our thing. Do you guys see this O'Neal Cruz kid from the Pirates?
He just hit one out of the park.
Yeah, he's hitting the ball at like 113 mile per hour off the bat. Like he hit one that was like 102 miles per hour off the bat, 122.
Dude,
like this guy is crazy.
21 years old, and he's 6'7", and he throws it like close to 100 across the infield.
Yeah, I'm really loving watching this NL East race with the Phillies, Mets, and Braves. Oh man, is that crazy? I think the team who wins the NL East is winning it all this year. I think they're the best. But anyway, we're not talking baseball. Let's go into fantasy. All right. So what we're doing today, how this is set up. So we are talking, we're going to do quarterback, running back 1, running back 2, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. And we are doing a tight end and a defense and a kicker. Is that good? So what we're doing is we all are bringing a player to the table for each position. And we are deciding if multiple of us decide on one person, that person wins this position. But if we all decide on a different person, we all make a case for who we're having at that position. Do we understand, gentlemen?
Yep.
All right, let's get to it. I will start at quarterback, and I am going with Josh Allen. Josh Allen is an absolute fucking monster. He's going to lead the Braves to the AFC Championship this year. And again, just one of the biggest arms in football, if not the biggest arm in football. Josh Allen puts up some serious numbers. I love Josh Allen. Josh Allen's going to be my fantasy quarterback 1.
He's got the rushing upside too. He brings in so many rushing touchdowns. They use him at the goal line.
Yes.
He's quick. He's nimble. He moves around. Real well. So you want a QB that can run. So that's the pick.
Tyler agrees?
Yeah.
You agree with Josh Allen? Okay.
Josh Allen's the number 1.
All right. Mike, who would you go with?
Well, I was really thinking Davis Mills, Texans starting quarterback, because he has such a long neck. But
no, he could be a good QB1.
You know what long neck means? Huge cock.
Huge cock.
I also had Josh Allen, so that sounds like it's pretty unanimous, fellas. I'm writing down Josh
Allen. Should we make an argument for someone else then? Since we only talk about one guy, should we just make an argument for someone else? Herbert,
we got
Mahomes.
They're all good, but we all agreed on a QB. We're good.
It's just fun to talk about another guy since there's only one guy.
But then we'll go an hour and 45 minutes because we could sit and debate about QBs over and over again. Yes, I will say Justin Herbert is unbelievable. I will say, obviously, Patrick Mahomes is unbelievable. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is unbelievable. I think Lamar Jackson you could throw in there for the mix of being a pretty talented fantasy quarterback. I hate him as an actual quarterback, but a fantasy quarterback I think is a good Lamar Jackson would be. How about this? We can all give an honorable mention. Is that fair?
Sure. Yeah, my honorable mention.
Ty, who's
Herbert? He's just ascended like absolutely crazy. His rushing upside, he can run really well. He's got so many weapons on offense. He's got Eckler out of the backfield. I would pick Herbert as my
Super Bowl. A lot of people are liking him for the Super Bowl this year, so we'll see. Mike?
Not to be like stereotypical, but I'm probably gonna have to go with Mahomes.
I
know his weaponry arsenal of wide receivers might not be as hard hitting as years past, but he's still, you can't deny that he's an unbelievably talented quarterback in the league. So that's my honorable mention.
My honorable mention, I'm going Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts was one of the top fantasy quarterbacks last year.
Yeah.
And I think Jalen Hurts, unlike Tua, I think Jalen Hurts is going to take a huge jump this year. Getting Jaylen Brown out at wide receiver is, or AJ Brown. I'm sorry, getting AJ Brown out there at wide receiver, huge. He is a monster. I think it's going to be awesome for Jalen Hurts, and I think he's going to have a huge year.
Yeah,
So
he's got
Jalen
the
Hurts is my
tactician.
honorable mention.
He's got the tactician Devonta Smith, and he's got the burner AJ Brown. So they got.
I love it.
Burner.
I love it. Running back 1. Who wants to start?
This one's easy, guys. It's not even a competition. Jonathan Taylor. You can't argue Jonathan Taylor against anyone.
Watch me. I'll easily argue that.
You cannot argue anyone else. Whatever you're gonna say is gonna be stupid because it's just not even.
Derrick Henry?
No, dude. Look at the stats. No,
Jonathan Taylor's had one good year. Derrick Henry was hurt last year.
it's just wrong. Jonathan Taylor's been a dominant force. He's been in the
And
league.
Derrick Henry hasn't?
Oh,
He wasn't based on last year when he got injured.
Dude, this is not even close in my opinion. I think Jonathan Taylor by far. We'll have to.
Well,
put
that's
this
why it's
up
an
on
opinion.
Instagram. Yeah, and I think
Because my opinion,
every single
is-
person in the fantasy football community will disagree with you. I will tell you that.
all right, there's Tyler taking a shit on my sake of argument. Derrick Henry, I think Derrick Henry is an absolute monster. I think people forget how much that he delivered time in and time out for fantasy owners 2 years ago. Last year, he had that foot injury that put him out most of the year, but he was unbelievable a couple years ago. So I'm going Derrick Henry.
All right, I'm taking JT. Mike, let me just go over JT's stats last year: 5.5 yards a carry, 1,800 yards, 18 touchdowns, 40 receptions, 360 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So 20 touchdowns with over 2,000 yards last year.
Okay, let me say Derrick Henry's then. He had 2,027 yards in 2020, 17 touchdowns, 19 receptions. He was hurt 90% of the season last year, and he still had 10 touchdowns. So
I like Derrick Henry. He's argue 2 or 3. I just think JT is the clear one.
Mike, you're going Jonathan Taylor?
I'll be honest. Henry and JT are like numbers 1 and 2 on my list. The thing is, since we're predicting 2022 projections, if we base it off of 2021, JT had a way more productive of a year last year. I mean, I'll be honest, both these teams are in the same division. You can make the argument it's the weakest division in the AFC South. I mean, you have Colts, Texans, Titans, and Jags. I mean, taking a look, I'm trying to think of their quarterback and like receiving core to see who might have a better year, if they're going to rely more on the run or the pass. Tannehill and Matt Ryan, I think, are pretty much a wash when it comes to like QB skill and talent at this point in their careers. I just got to go with JT, especially because he's a former Badger. So,
yeah.
Like, you gotta hope that McCaffrey's my honorable mention. You gotta hope that McCaffrey returns back to form this year, has a healthy year with Baker at the helms, and he can kind of get back to form.
I also would like to point out the offensive line for both of these teams. The Indianapolis Colts last year, their offensive line 9th ranked. Tennessee Titans were 28th ranked. So we'll see how the offensive lines hold up because that's very important for running back. But I also think Henry's getting a little old. But I mean, he's still an absolute tank out there. I love him, and I think he's, definitely in the top 3.
He's
all
20.
Right.
He's in his.
So are we going RB2?
That's a horrible take about Henry getting old, but yeah, let's go for. I mean, we already decided RB2. Then
I have a different
Derrick
RB2
Henry
than both of you guys.
Well, Michael chose RB2 already, so
so Mike,
go ahead.
Your RB2 is Derrick Henry, and Max, yours is JT.
No, mine
is number 2.
Well, Derrick Henry is going to be our number 2 because I had him as my number 1, and I got outvoted.
Okay.
So
my argument was going to be Austin Eckler for number 2.
Oh, Eckler. Okay, I'll hear you out.
Yeah. So last year, 911 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns, 70 receptions for 647 yards and 8 touchdowns. So 20 touchdowns and just an absolutely insane amount of receptions. If you're doing the PPR, if you're in a PPR league, the man is unstoppable. And absolutely such a powerful offense. I'm not saying for sure he's better than Derrick Henry, but I think you can make an argument for him in a PPR league being better than Henry.
Okay, you make a good point about PPR because I'll be honest, like I would almost argue Dalvin Cook over Austin
He gets
Eckler.
hurt too much, though. I would
Yeah,
think
he was injured.
I would say Alvin Kamara over Austin Eckler. But
Oof.
2020, he had 16 touchdowns and 83 receptions and
Well,
932 yards.
You keep
Last year
going
he
to
was
20,
hurt. He was
we're
hurt.
going exactly.
I mean, you can't go into the year assuming that somebody's going to get hurt.
Well, if they're out the whole year, you got to assume that there's going to be some regression.
All right, so who are you going with, Mike? Well, you already went with Derrick Henry.
I went with
RB2.
Derrick Henry. I think that might
All
be
right,
our
so let's
team.
move on to
So
wide receiver
For sure,
one.
Derrick Henry then too.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep.
So who are we going for wide receiver one? Michael, you can start.
You guys might think it's stereotypical, but I've had him for the last 2 years in fantasy. I did not get him this year, but I got to go with my boy, Cooper Kupp. Just honestly, a sensational. He has like an awesome story. Like, I'm pretty sure he wasn't that high in the draft when he first got in the pros a few years ago, but the ability for Cooper Kupp just to get separation on the field. He's not the most fast. He's not the most athletic. He probably doesn't even have the best footwork, but the connection that him and Matt Stafford made last year was just phenomenal.
very
Even
special.
before, when he had Jared Goff, he was off the charts. So I got to nominate Cooper Kupp for my wide receiver one position.
A fun fact about that to go off since we're mentioning draft, he was drafted 69th overall, ranked by the NFL draft scouts as the 8th best receiver in the class. Guess who picked him as the number one receiver? Steve Smith said Cooper Kupp is the best receiver in the draft, and he was damn right.
Steve Smith, you got to respect his take. I mean, he was a legend in Carolina. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would go Cooper Kupp.
Interesting tidbit. That's cool, Ty.
I would go Cooper Kupp. Not even close, number one.
I would as well go Cooper Kupp. I think it is close, though. I don't think it's fair to say it's not.
I think our number two is going to be contentious.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson. I think we might as well roll right into it. Justin Jefferson, number two. His first 2 seasons have been absolutely sensational. I mean, he's already cemented himself as a top 3 receiver in the league.
Yeah, I'm for sure gonna go to Davante Adams at number 2. I think that he is. Every single guy I say, Tyler makes a disgusted face.
I wouldn't even. I'd put him at 5.
Okay, that's horrible take, but Davante Adams is number 2. I mean, people have been saying he's the best wide receiver in the league for the last couple of years for a serious reason. Aaron Rodgers just looked like dog shit every single game that he's not played in. I think that Davante Adams is an unbelievable talent, and I think that I'm terribly upset that we lost him, but I think that he's the number 2. I think he's going to have a huge year.
Is the situation, though, right for him, putting him at the second best receiver in fantasy?
Yeah, I think he's going to make Derek Carr look a lot better.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens.
Interesting. We have our first position where we all have different options because
I would have taken Diggs, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, and Justin Jefferson over him for fantasy purposes. Not in
all right, Tyler, let Michael make his pick.
I was gonna go with Stephon Diggs on the Bills. I love the chemistry that Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen have with each other. I think it's gonna be a slight challenge between Derek Carr and Davante Adams, although they did go to the same college. I get that. I forget which college exactly, so they might have that connection. But just seeing Stephon Diggs and like Josh Allen, like I remember watching an NFL Monday Night Football post interview. These guys are like total just mesh with each other. Like they play video games all the time. They truly have that connection on and off the field. And Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, both being relatively young, entering their prime. He's got to be my number 2 wide receiver pick. But how are we going to decide now?
I don't know. It's a tough situation.
What was yours, Mike, again?
Stephon Diggs, and then we had Devontae Adams, and we also had. Would you pick Justin Jefferson?
Justin Jefferson.
I would formally like to go to Stephon Diggs. I would second with Michael. I think that Stephon Diggs has Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs' chemistry is incredible. And on top of that, Stephon Diggs is just an elite receiver. He's so good. I like that connection better. I think Kirk Cousins is unreliable, and I would go with Josh Allen all day throwing to Stephon Diggs over Kirk Cousins throwing to Justin Jefferson.
Already.
Personal. That's my opinion.
Well, you guys got me beat then.
Should we go to tight end?
Yeah, tight end. All right. I guess I could start at this one. I really like TJ Hockenson from the Lions.
Oh, good pick.
I think that he's a fucking beast. I'm excited to see what he does this year, just not against the Packers. I'm excited to see what the Lions do this year. I think that they're an exciting team. But yeah, TJ Hockenson, fantasy beast.
Well, I got a lot of guys that I'd pick over him.
Okay.
But who? Tyler just makes a point to shit on my pick every single time.
I'm just not agreeing with him, Max. That's just what it is. Like, you're getting offended here. Don't get offended.
Well, I know, but you don't need to put my picks down. You can just say your picks.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Kelsey. He's consistently the best tight end every year.
There's a bunch of players I put way above Kelsey.
I'd take Waller over Hockenson, Kittle, Andrews. But
solid choice, Ty. Kelsey was almost my number one, but I've had both Kelsey and Mark Andrews on fantasy teams over the last couple of years, and I'm gonna have to stick with Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews is a great. I think.
I'll be honest. Kelsey and Mark Andrews are utilized more as wide receivers than tight ends. Like, let's be honest. That's why their numbers are insane. But time and time again, Mark Andrews just seems to be Lamar's favorite down the field. I mean, you can make the same argument with Mahomes and Kelsey.
Yeah.
But I've seen too many games with Mark Andrews making clutch touchdowns, clutch big chunky yardages, and I know he's a big guy, but Mark Andrews is gonna have to be my guy.
Dude, Mark Andrews, I will side with you on that, Mike. 1,361 yards last year, 9 touchdowns, 107 receptions. Unbelievable year.
Yeah, even in a PPR league, I mean, you can make the argument for both Kelsey and Andrews, but he gets a lot of targets from Lamar. So, all right, should we go to defense if Mark Andrews is our tight end?
Sure. Let's do it. I don't know a ton about defense, but
can I just preface this? I feel like defense and kickers, sometimes quarterbacks, are like those are like the two positions on your fantasy where if you have someone on a bye, you're like, oh shit, I gotta find a defense.
I have no idea, guys, for this kicker defense. Like,
I'm going Packers.
Do we want to skip kickers and defense? I don't know shit about it.
I'm fine to skip it. I'm good to skip it.
Yeah, we can skip. We can just say that we're gonna pick Young Hoku.
Young Hoku, you like Young Hoku?
I'm picking Young Hoku, and that means that we're also picking the Falcons defense.
If you want to touch, I mean, if we wanted a complete lineup for defenses, Ty, Max, you mentioned the Packers. I think either the Bills or the 49ers this year are going to be one of the top defenses.
Yeah. According to this thing, it says the Bills are the best, but who knows?
Bills signed Von Miller. I mean, he's a veteran. I mean, we saw him in the Rams still making production. Nick Bosa's back this year on the 49ers, and they just have a crazy.
Realistically, I forgot Justin Tucker. He's just consistently an absolute monster. But I like Young Hoku the best. I think he's cool.
All right. For defense, we had Packers. I probably picked the Bills.
Yeah, Bills probably is the best.
And then for kicker, I either had Justin Tucker or Evan McPherson for the Bengals. I know we had that shit game against the Packers last year.
It's hard to choose against Tucker.
Young Hoku.
Young Hoku is so fun to watch.
All right.
He's so intense the way he lines up.
He's like really good too. Young
Yes.
Hoku is like one of the best kickers in the league last year.
Yeah.
All right, let's do our top 5 favorite players. I'm okay to get us rolling and started.
Yeah.
So my number 5, Michael, are you going to write these down?
Yeah, I can.
So my number 5 is going to be LaDainian Tomlinson.
Ooh, good choice. I like that.
I loved LT growing up. The Chargers have always been one of my favorite teams just because I love their uniforms. And I've always loved Darren Sproles and LT on the same team running around out there.
Fuck, I forgot about him. That's such a good choice.
Darren Sproles is great. LT is great. So I'm kind of lumping them together in a way at number 5, but LT. Number 4, Ed Reed. That Ravens defense, that was the best defense ever. And I will stand by that with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Terrell Suggs and
I hated that
dogs
defense.
on that defense. Man,
Yeah,
that was a crazy team. Ed Reed was so fun to watch, so fast, such a hard hitter. I would have picked Ray Lewis, but he killed a guy. So number 3, Brett Favre. No words need to be described. Brett Favre is a winner. He is a love. You could love him and hate him. He had some games when at number 3 for Brett Favre. Yeah, he said some games when you love him, some games where you're like, "What are you doing?" But you gotta love Favre. Number 2, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was always my favorite player growing up. I love Peyton Manning. I always have a Peyton Manning jersey. I remember my parents took me to Lambeau Field for a tour when I was a young little kid, and I wore my Peyton Manning jersey as a Packers fan in Lambeau Field getting my tour. Peyton Manning will always be one of my favorite players ever. He was my favorite player as a Colts. Watching him win a couple Super Bowls was amazing. And then watching him go to Broncos and win the Super Bowl too was amazing. Peyton Manning.
Needs Peyton Manning back. I wish he would come back for another year.
Yeah, except he looked literally crippled in his last Super Bowl win.
He did. That was so bad.
Matter of fact,
ducks.
Peyton Manning, number 2. And my number 1 favorite player of all time in the NFL, Donald Driver.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Double D is my favorite player of all time. I love Donald Driver. Watching him do what I would do to watch Donald Driver do another Lambeau Leap in a Packers uniform, just gives me goosebumps thinking about some of the incredible plays that he's made over the course of his career and how many clutch plays that he's bailed us out in games. And obviously not a ton. Maybe that's a hometown pick for sure, but he's
such a likable guy.
One of my favorite players ever. My favorite Packer to ever wear a Packers uniform. Easily, hands down, no questions asked. Love Donald Driver.
He's got the $1 million smile. He's got like the best smile in the world.
I debated as my number 1 between Charles Woodson and Donald Driver. Because I've always loved
Charles Woodson in the top 5.
I know, but I had other players that I wanted to incorporate besides just the Packers top 5. But Charles Woodson, he's probably more of a Raider than he is a Packer anyway. But yeah, Mike.
Donald Driver has a great backstory too about like him having a super rough childhood and the fact that he got an opportunity to even play in the NFL. So he just has an awesome story on and off the field.
We'll have to deep dive that sometime.
Yeah.
Maybe next episode we could do a Donald Driver story.
Maybe we could bring him on the pod.
I'm sure he would come on.
Well, next episode, I think we're going to be reviewing the Manti Te'o documentary.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll be doing that next week, fellas.
Alrighty. Well,
you want to go?
Sure, I'll go. I wanted to give one quick honorable mention. Max will laugh, and I think a lot of people will laugh at this, but for some reason, I absolutely love this guy. The big
Michael Turner.
The bad. The big ass. Michael Turner. Tree trunks for legs. I don't know why.
I can't believe you put him in your honorable mention. I thought he was going to be your number 1.
He doesn't get any love, and for some reason, I was just obsessed with him growing up. Just because of how big he was, he would plow everyone.
So, I always liked Michael Turner.
Yeah, I had to mention him. All the close friends of mine will know that Michael Turner had to be mentioned. So, number 5 for me, Megatron.
Ooh.
Calvin Johnson. They're really
Oh,
Jerry Rice. Like there wasn't a more dominant receiver ever physically than Calvin Johnson. 6'6", could run like crazy, had an unbelievable, unbelievable hops. He caught everything. Such a fun player to watch. I absolutely loved watching Calvin Johnson play.
And he retired when he was like what, 30?
Yeah, he retired early because of he had so much pain. He was smoking weed before every game.
you know who I remember that reminded me of too? They played in the same era was Andre Johnson. Remember Andre
Oh, he
Johnson
was
from the
a Mexican.
Texans? He was
Yeah.
a dog.
Marvin Harrison too. I loved him.
Yeah,
Thought
I
he
thought
was
about
good.
Marvin Harrison too. I love Reggie Wayne too. So go ahead, sorry.
Number 4, this might be controversial. I loved James Harrison. James Harrison, he's kind of a douche. He's very serious, but that man could lift like no other person.
That's a good pick.
He'd throw 1,000 pounds on the squat rack and he'd be fine. Like watching him play and just destroy quarterbacks and destroy running backs, just absolutely pancake linemen. So fun to watch. He was the backbone of the Steelers defense when they were dominant, when they were the steel curtain. I loved him, Palomalo. So fun to watch. Mike?
Yeah, his work ethic, like you could see, I remember seeing videos a few years ago about like his workouts that he would do.
So strong.
He's really kept like such a long career, like really kept up his longevity in the NFL just because he was so dedicated to it. Like you could tell he was one of those guys that loved football and would play for as long as he could. So that's a good pick.
Yep. Number 3, Brett Favre. Max had we just had him on the same spot.
Same spot.
He's just it was such a polarizing player. He made the game so fun and exciting. Yeah, he was a shit show. He would throw 3 interceptions in a row, but then throw 3 touchdowns in like a minute. Yeah, I just loved watching Brett Favre. I'm surprised Aaron Rodgers didn't make your list, Max. I thought he'd for sure be in your top 5.
I have an explanation for that. I love Aaron Rodgers. I do. And I think that he's obviously one of the most talented players to ever touch a football. And trust me, I will be crushed the day he retires and leaves the Packers. But Aaron Rodgers is also a very difficult player or difficult person to like.
He's such an ego.
He's just he's kind of a dick. And like, I don't really like the person that Aaron Rodgers is, but egotistical kind of asshole in my opinion. But
he just always in the playoffs just doesn't seem like he cares.
I love him on the Packers, so I'll take him every day as a Packer. I love him as a Packer, but I don't really like the person. So that's why he didn't make my top 5.
Sure. Number 2, I'm doing a mix of personality and play. Gronk. He is the best tight end to ever live. He is one of the funniest guys out there. He's a genuinely nice person. He's hilarious. His videos, all of it, like I love Gronk. And he will always be one of my overall favorite players. And then my number 1, Marshawn Lynch. I would literally stream illegal websites just to make sure I could watch Marshawn Lynch play. Watching him with the Beastquake, oh my God. He literally set off an earthquake in Seattle, a small magnitude earthquake because of how hyped the stadium got. Like, come on. He's also one of the funniest people in the world, I think. His personality is fucking hilarious. He just doesn't give a flying fook.
Yeah, he clearly don't give it.
All of his interviews.
He clearly didn't give a fuck about anybody else on the roads either when he
that was
car drunk.
Well, Marshawn stopped drinking and driving, but he's just here so we don't get fined. I love that. I think I said that wrong. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
There you go.
But yeah.
So was James Harrison your honorable mention?
He was 4. Michael Turner was honorable mention.
Oh, got it. Okay, perfect. All right, fellas. Well, buckle up for this one. Let me tell you.
Oh God, are we gonna have some weird ones?
No, well, possibly. Number 5. Okay, so he technically, I don't know if he was a player in the NFL, but I gotta go with Coach Jimmy Johnson. I think he does like the hosting, but he just recently got inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2020. Like the NFL football, like Pro Hall of Fame. Like it's kind of a big deal. I know he won 2 Super Bowls with the Cowboys back in the 90s. I want to say when Troy Aikman was their quarterback or whatever. I didn't know he went to college with Jerry Jones.
What?
And that's how he got his coaching job.
That's
with
wild.
the Dallas Cowboys back in like I think it was the late 80s whenever he became the head coach for them. But another thing that was kind of cool because Jimmy Johnson, he coached like college football and then he coached NFL football. He won a championship with Miami in like the 1980s or 90s. And then the next year, as his first year as the head coach of the Cowboys, he won a Super Bowl. So I thought that was kind of a cool fun fact. And
Jimmy Johnson, interesting one.
he could have been an NFL honorable mention, but whatever. Number 4, I gotta go with. Okay, don't judge me on this. I was kind of looking for some more like defensive guys. I gotta go with Howie Long. You guys might know that Howie Long was.
Did you just pick the NFL broadcasting booth to?
He's just a Fox Sports supporter.
How would you shut the hell up and let me?
He's a Fox Sports supporter. Sunday morning football.
So Howie Long
Terry
was
Bradshaw
defensive end on the Raiders from 1981 to 1993. He won a Super Bowl with them, and he was an 8-time Pro Bowler. Not a lot of people could say that. And you guys said, yeah, I guess he happens to be a host on the Fox NFL Sunday show, but whatever. Number 3, I was having a trouble picking 3 and 2, but
he was a quarterback for the Steelers back in the day. Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah, Terry Bradshaw. He was a quarterback for the Steelers, 4-time Super Bowl champ, 2-time NFL MVP, and he played for the Steelers from 1970 to 1983. I think there's like a video called like the miracle or the immaculate reception where he chucks a ball at overtime and there's like a bunch of balls.
Mike, is this a prank? Are you pranking us?
Is Michael Strahan next?
Can you guys just let me finish my goddamn countdown?
You have the Fox Sports newscast on there.
All right, I love it, Mike. Keep going.
All right, Mike, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so the other thing about Terry Bradshaw, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Failure to Launch. It's like a 2000s movie.
Oh, I love that movie.
There's a scene in there with Terry Bradshaw. He plays Matthew McConaughey's dad. There's a scene where you see his bare white ass, which I think is hilarious.
Oh.
So, and yeah, I guess he's the host on Fox or whatever you guys said. Number 2 is going to be the person who initially set the most sacks in an NFL season. Granted, there were only 14 games back in there as opposed to 17 nowadays. It's going to be Michael Strahan. I'll tell you why, because Michael Strahan was the defensive end for the Giants from 1993 to 2007. He won a Super Bowl with them, was a 7-time Pro Bowler, was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2014, so that means you're pretty good. And he also was the co-host on Good Morning America, CBS's like morning national news show. So that's kind of cool if you ask me.
Oh, that's a good number 2 overall favorite player.
Yeah, thanks, Ty.
I'm starting to think that I don't know any more football players on the Fox News Sportscast. There might be one other guy, but I don't think he played football.
So, I mean, I think he might have played like youth football, which I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But number 1 favorite NFL player / NFL influence for me personally is going to be Curt Menefee. You guys might know him as the lead anchor on Fox NFL Sunday.
Nothing gets me ready than Curt Menefee for a football Sunday.
Some of his other accomplishments that he's had in life is that he's the play-by-play commentator for the Seahawks preseason football games. And we all know that he went to Coe College in Cedar Rapids, and he was inducted into their fraternity's Sigma News Hall of Fame in 2016. So yeah, Curt Menefee he got a great influence on the NFL, hosting Fox NFL Sunday, along with the other players that I said earlier.
That was good, Mike. That was really good.
I have a question.
I thought you were bullshitting for a second. I didn't know you were actually being serious. I get it.
Let me just
get it. You're a fucking
your
idiot.
number 1 overall favorite. This was our favorite NFL players list. You decided to skew off and pick Curt Menefee as your favorite NFL player. Number 1, overall, as a Packers fan, this man chooses Kurt Menefee as his number 1 overall player ever in the history of the world. Kurt Menefee.
I think he played high school football. I don't know.
I mean, you want to talk.
about it.
I think we need to talk about an all-time bad list, and Michael once again finds himself in a heap of controversy, and really being the lone wolf here. So, Mike,
I love it. I think
kudos to you, guys. That concludes our episode today. Just a great one, a great episode. Some controversy, some heated controversy.
Some heated fantasy football controversy.
Some heated fantasy football controversy. Some cheeks were spread. Some
many questionable really decisions were made. Many questionable decisions were made, both in fantasy and
terrible video. Many terrible video streaming was also seen by Mike with his blurry background and going in and out. But overall, just a great episode. And again, we continue to thank you guys all for the support. This takes a lot for us to be able to get this out on time for all you guys every week and edited and looking good. And obviously, there's a lot sometimes we have to edit out, being 3 absolute morons running a podcast, but we love doing it for you guys. And we thank you for your support. So don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to like on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts, or however you go about listening. We truly thank you for your support, and we're going to continue to grow our channel and give you content. So anyway, that's all I got to say today. So Ty, do you want to wind us down?
And guys, Mike, I just want to salute you first of all for that beautiful list. I absolutely was dying over here. Amazing. But guys, great episode. Let's go. Pat out.